All right, the next rule that we have, a very powerful rule, much like with differentiation, is the power rule for integration. Now, unlike the power rule for differentiation, the power rule for integration, it works for all values of n, the exponent here, except for when n is -1. We will come back and talk about that in a second, but if you think about what happens here, if n were equal to -1, then this would result in division by 0, so clearly that's not great. Okay, so using this power rule here, we identify this starting exponent, we add 1 to it, get the new exponent, and then we just divide by that new exponent. So, we'll run through these pretty quickly. Here, the integral of x squared, this would be 1/3 x cubed. Now here, we're also going to add on a plus c, because as we discussed in the previous video, there is an infinite number of antiderivatives, one for every single constant c. For any real number c, we can just add c, and this results in a new antiderivative. So when we do these integral problems, we're going to answer with plus c at the end, just to at least communicate that this is an antiderivative, but a general antiderivative. So any antiderivative of this expression, x squared, has the form 1/3 x cubed plus any constant that you want. So here we'd have 1/46 x to the 46th plus c. Here our exponent's technically a 1, so this would be 1/2 x squared plus c. Part D, there's nothing written here, but we can always assume that's a 1. So this is really like x to the 0th dx, because remember, anything to the 0th power is 1. So this is 1/1 x to the 1 plus c, or we can just write this as x plus c. Here, the negatives get a little trickier. So this will be, our new exponent's going to be -1, so then we'll divide by -1. Which is just, we could just write this more simply as -x to the -1 plus c. Fractions, so we're going to add 1, common denominator here, this would be 4/3, and then we'll divide by 4/3, but division by a fraction is just multiplication by the reciprocal. So I always would approach this problem by first finding my new exponent, then just multiply by the flip, or the reciprocal of it. So here, same thing, I'm going to add 1 to my exponent to get positive 3/4, and then I will divide by that fraction or multiply by its reciprocal. For this one, we'll have x to the square root of 2 plus 1 divided by that whole thing.